Jazz Scene Buffalo is sponsored by Constance Caldwell, licensed real estate salesperson at Howard Hanna Real Estate Services, and by Chef's Restaurant, downtown Buffalo. Menu and hours at ilovechefs.com.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us at Jazz Scene Buffalo, the show that gives you a mere glimpse into jazz in Western New York. My name is Constance Caldwell, and it gives me great pleasure to present and introduce Western New York's first call jazz musicians, educators, band leaders. We even have some jazz scene history bits that we know you will enjoy hearing. On the scene today, a versatile and indefatigable first call musician, John Bacon, Dr. John Bacon. Drummer and percussionist extraordinaire, John has recently released his hit CD, Revolution Blues, and it is receiving big praise all over Toronto radio jazz and within the jazz community, of course. Lucky us to enjoy the marvelous John Bacon Quintet. You ready, John?
We're ready.
Let's do it.
1, 2, 1.
Looking to buy or sell your dream home? Look no further. With experience, knowledge, and a passion for helping clients achieve their goals, Constance Caldwell is ready to guide you every step of the way. From stunning listings of your home to personalized service, Constance will help make your real estate dreams a reality. Contact Connie today at 716-602-1290 to make your next move a satisfying success.
I'm Constance Caldwell, and I approve this message.
Come on down and celebrate chefs. Come on down and celebrate chefs. We've got lots of food, it's a real fun fest. So come on down and we'll do the rest. 100 years being the best in Buffalo.
Chef's Restaurant, 291 Seneca in Buffalo for 100 years. It's the place where family and friends meet to eat. Call for reservations, 856-9187. Info at ilovechefs.com.
Or somebody or his cousin was a drummer, and hi, we're back with John Bacon, and he was filling me in on how the jazz scene in Buffalo has changed since the 80s. And you got to share these stories with the audience because it's changed quite a bit, I take it.
Well, certainly.
I mean,
And can you, first of all, can you believe the 80s are like a long time ago?
yeah, yeah, they seem like, I mean, people say it all the time, but it seems like yesterday, you know? But yeah, the 80s was when I first started playing professionally on the jazz scene in Buffalo. And, you know, I mean, back then, obviously, I was a newcomer. I was one of the young guys, and now here we are 40 years later, and I'm one of the old guys, so, which is hard to believe. But there's been such a change, like related especially to the media, I think, and the venues. You know, back then you had at least 2 jazz stations that were playing, you know, playing jazz for many hours a day, WBFO and WEBR, and you had multiple jazz clubs, at least a couple of which were bringing in people from out of town, international artists. So there was a lot of dissemination of the music. It was reaching a broad, you know, base.
So what do you think about then how the jazz scene is now in terms of reaching out to people? And because it seems to me, and I might be wrong, but it seems to me like there's a resurgence with young people, or is it because we live in a bubble that we're seeing it? What do you think? I mean,
well, it's definitely an encouraging time with regard to the young people that are involved and the level that they're playing, the level of their involvement, the level of their commitment to the history of the music, which, you know, I don't know whether that was always the case, and I'm not quite sure why it's like that, but it certainly is like that. There's a real healthy crop of young people who are really into the music and playing at a high level.
and what, did you start out wanting to be a jazz musician, or did you want to be a musician and then kind of evolved into it? How does that work how did it work with you?
Yeah, I don't know whether I was ever really conscious about it, you know, like it was something that I was very interested in doing, and I did it, and I was active with it. But at the beginning, I was kind of taking a lot of opportunities, just whatever would come along. And I wasn't really able to be that selective because, you know, at the beginning, you just gotta take whatever comes along and do as much as you can. But I did gravitate definitely towards jazz. I went to hear live jazz and, you know, tried to be where the music was happening and talk to the musicians and get involved with them. And when I had an opportunity to do my own things, I would always gravitate towards a more improvisational, more jazz-oriented type of music.
So I'm friends with Bobby Militello, and I know you played with him for many, many years. How did you meet him? How did that work?
That's interesting, because I was saying earlier, I recently found a cassette tape of the Cloister. The Cloister was an active club back in those days, and we would play there 3 days a week with Sam Falzone, Al Tinney, Fred Stroud, and we had Jerry Peters would sing, and then we would have jam sessions on Sunday. That was a great opportunity because a lot of musicians would come and sit in. It's where I got to meet a lot of people. And we also did live broadcasts. And so we did a live broadcast with Bobby Militello, and I believe that was the first time that I played with him.
Wow.
That was 1984. And then, you know, we played periodically after that, but then about 15 years ago or so, I started playing regularly in his quartet, which was one of the greatest experiences, you know, of my career. You know, Bobby was such a warm human being, such an incredible musician, but as a band leader, he was the pinnacle of a band leader. He never ever told me what to do. He appreciated what I did, and he just let me be who I was.
An artist.
Yeah, and so I was really able to try things and apply ideas that I had going on in my head without restriction, which was really a great thing, you know?
Well, I don't know then if we should be thanking Bobby Militello, because you are an exceptional drummer and you have a beautiful lyrical sound, and you've been around the world. You have traveled somewhat. You're in Buffalo now. We are so lucky, and there's so many other stories that I want to hear, but we have to get back to the music now, so please stay with us. We want to talk some more to John about some of these extraordinary jazz scene Buffalo stories that he has. I think you'll dig it.
Thank you very much. I'm John Bacon. This is the John Bacon Quintet. And we started off our show today with a tune written by Jared Tinkham, our guitarist, called Shadows. And the second tune was called The Release, written by Elliot Scozzaro. Over here we have Ed Croft on the bass. John Hasselback III on the trumpet. Elliot Scozzaro on the alto saxophone. Jared Tinkham back here on the guitar. And now I'd like to bring up Lindsey Holland to join us on vocals.
Painted in the autumn evening, where did the sun go? Someplace only you know, where you left my heart. It amazes me that every night I'm still so taken by your light here in my memories where I'll keep you. How is it that nobody really understands, really understands? Now I see you with me, then you're gone, slipping through my hands. Does nothing ever seem to last forever? Will someday we be together? Calling out, hoping you'll hear me. Where did you go? Where did you go? Are you with the sun in the blending of the orange and purple? That is where I'll look to you, still here in my memories where I'll keep you. Where I'll keep you. the sun, in the blending of the orange and purple. That is where I'll look to you still here, in my memories where I'll keep you.
Looking to buy or sell your dream home? Look no further. With experience, knowledge, and a passion for helping clients achieve their goals, Constance Caldwell is ready to guide you every step of the way. From stunning listings of your home to personalized service, Constance will help make your real estate dreams a reality. Contact Connie today at 716-602-1290 to make your next move a satisfying success.
I'm Constance Caldwell, and I approve this message.
Come on down and celebrate chefs. Come on down and celebrate chefs. We've got lots of food, it's a real fun fest. So come on down and we'll do the rest. 100 years being the best in Buffalo.
Chef's Restaurant, 291 Seneca in Buffalo. For 100 years, it's the place where family and friends meet to eat. Call for reservations, 856-9187. Info at ilovechefs.com.
Jazz scene in Buffalo, you do remember John Bacon with Bobby Militello, but I remember him when he used to play with Al Tinney, who was also a household name and of high regard here. What was that like?
Well, Al was, in some ways, maybe my first great mentor in jazz in Buffalo. I got involved with him through Sam Falzone. Sam Falzone heard me when I was in high school, and then I played in his bands in college. And eventually he hired me to play at the Cloister. Again, we talked about the Cloister. And at that time, Al was the pianist there. And eventually Al started to play gigs with Peggy Farrell. And we played at Nietzsche's when Nietzsche's was first opened. And so that got us started. Al was a great teacher, a great musician. We used to rehearse at the, I'm not sure what that was called now, but it was over on Maston. It was like a prison basically for kids. It was, horrible place.
I do know the building.
Yeah,
yes.
Horrible place.
Yeah.
But he used to teach there, and so we would rehearse there. And he had ideas about everything that he would form my parts. He would tell me exactly what to do, which was really helpful at that time because I was just getting my feet wet and just getting going with the scene. And he had all interesting ideas about arrangements and how to approach the music. So he was a great teacher and really guided me. And of course, Al is a direct connection to the history of the music because he played at Monroe's Uptown House, which was one of the two pillars of the formation of bebop in New York City in the 1940s. He told me stories about how he was in the first production of Porgy and Bess with George Gershwin, and he sat on the piano stool next to Gershwin, and Gershwin showed him the inner workings of the pentatonics in Porgy and Bess. And then later he was the band leader at Monroe's, and he had Charlie Parker and Max Roach in his band. So he told me about things that he talked to Max Roach about, how Max Roach should approach the music, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do that.
Did you love that 1 degree of separation
gosh.
to greatness?
I mean, I can't believe I was so fortunate to have that experience. Another thing that I remember about Al that was fantastic, he didn't drive, so I used to give him a ride home after the gigs, which was great because we would talk. And I remember one time he said, let's stop at this place. I was like, okay. So we went and we go, he buzzes the door. We go up the stairs to the Colored Musicians Club. And, I was a white boy from the suburbs. I knew nothing about the city. Mm-hmm. And, man, he brought me in there. The people were so friendly. And it was such a great place. And I started to understand what that was, what it is. And then for years I was involved there in various ways. So he brought me there, which was wonderful.
That's such an amazing thing. And so you played with him for how many years?
Wow.
Quite a stretch.
I mean, it was...
I remember you in Fanny's, Supper Club. Some of these places no longer exist, of
yeah,
course. Probably most of them.
On and off, I would guess at like maybe 10 years, but I'm purely guessing, But right from like when I first got on the scene until basically until he passed away, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if you if you were, okay, you probably get this question asked a lot, but how do you define jazz for you? It's such a art form that no one can quite put their finger on.
Right. Well, I mean, jazz, it can be defined, and I teach history of jazz classes,
okay.
And so when I teach that, I go through a very I go through a very academic list of things, and it involves certain technical aspects of the music. But I mean, it's definitely music born out of the African American experience in America. It's a melding of African styles, African sensibilities with European sensibilities through the African American experience. It embodies the blues and swing and improvisation and a lot of other specific elements. But I mean, for me, a big part of it is that it's an evolutionary music. It's something that's constantly evolving. I like to think of the music as something that's constantly shedding its skin, but it's still the same thing. It changes its clothes, but it's still the same thing. And you can say, well, it needs to be this or it has to have that, and many people have said that over the years. And then something comes along that is different from that or doesn't have that element as a part of it, but we still say that it's jazz music. So it's a very, and that, I guess that's part of what engages me about it, is that it is multifaceted. There's a lot of different parts to it.
And it's not always easy to understand. I know that for my own, I grew up loving David Cassidy and Bobby Sherman and bubblegum music.
Yeah, of course.
And then I kind of evolved, and then I remember listening to a lot of R&B, and then I worked in a club that was a jazz club that you may remember, the Calumet was.
Absolutely.
So I guess listening to it and working around it, I really fell in love with the culture first, before I even understood the language, and it is a language. Do you ever hear people and get their language that I wouldn't get because I don't play it?
Well, I think you tapped into another reason why I love the music is because of the community of it.
It's a wonderful community.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that is to me probably one of the things that draws me to it the most, is the people, and the people who want to be involved with it, and their enthusiasm, and how they're dedicated to the music without any aspirations. You want to make a little bit of money if you do a gig, but many times we've done the gig when there's been no money involved, or you want people to be there to listen, but many times we've played when there has been no one. So it's more about the activity of doing it and the community of the people who are involved. And the language aspect is a tricky one, I mean, I do believe it's a language in a certain way. The way all music is a certain kind of language, but it's not a language that is describing things in a specific way, or at least the way that it describes things is a way that can't be expressed in words. And I think that's why we choose to make it music, is because we can't say those things with words.
And you could say that about any music, but I am loving that you are the guest here on Jazz Scene Buffalo. I feel like you are Buffalo Jazz Scene, and the people that do the culture around it, you embody that. I love it. Thank you so much for watching this. Stick around. We have more great music to hear, and we even want to pay a little tribute to an old friend. Stick around.
Looking to buy or sell your dream home? Look no further. With experience, knowledge, and a passion for helping clients achieve their goals, Constance Caldwell is ready to guide you every step of the way. From stunning listings of your home to personalized service, Constance will help make your real estate dreams a reality. Contact Connie today at 716-602-1290 to make your next move a satisfying success.
I'm Constance Caldwell, and I approve this message.
Come on down and celebrate chefs. Come on down and celebrate chefs. We've got lots of food, it's a real fun fest. So come on down and we'll do the rest. 100 years being the best in Buffalo.
Chef's Restaurant, 291 Seneca in Buffalo. For 100 years, it's the place where family and friends meet to eat. Call for reservations, 856-9187. Info at ilovechefs.com.
Thank you so much, John Bacon Quintet. Oh, I could cry. Thank you for joining us at Jazz Scene Buffalo. We hope we left you wanting more. I know I want more. Until next time, visit johnbaconjr.com. Get out and be seen on the scene. The Jazz Scene Buffalo, of course. Thank you so much. John, you have so many recordings out, but I am loving your most recent recording. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, that's making a lot of, it seems like it's getting a lot of airplay.
Well, I've been really happy with it. I'm super happy with the way it turned out. The band played great. It's music that we've developed over a couple of years, and so it's called Revolution Blues, and it has all the people that are featured in the television broadcast, on the live broadcast. And you know, it makes me think back to my first recording, which was in 1987. We're talking again about the history of the scene, and back then when you released a record, of course it was a record, it was a vinyl record, and I remember getting the copies of the record and going downtown to the WEBR Jazz in the Nighttime radio station, and Al Wallach was there on the air, the great DJ in Buffalo, and he buzzed me in. I came in through the back door, went into the studio, and literally we opened the vinyl in the studio using our fingernail like he used to do, took the vinyl out, he put it on the platter and immediately played it on the air. He had not heard it. He, you know, it just went right out of the package, right into the airwaves in Buffalo.
How generous. Now, clearly he knew he wasn't going to be making any mistakes by playing your recording, yes? Did you?
The band had been playing around,
so he had heard you.
Yeah, you know, and I had great musicians in the band. Greg Millar on the guitar, Greg Piontek bass, Carl Corwin on saxophone. It was well produced. And that was just the way that again, that was the time period, you know.
Yes.
And it was a very open thing at that point. And they were looking to fill up the airwaves also. You got to remember that. They had jazz on every day from 9 at night until 6 in the morning. And so it's a lot of time, and they wanted new things, and they were very encouraging about supporting the scene. Both of the radio stations, WEBR and WBFO, John Hunt, John Warwick. They would read listings of where the bands were playing, and they would do live broadcasts. So it was really an integral part of the Buffalo jazz scene that I think we really miss at this point in time.
Yeah, I think there's still some people out there that are giving platform to jazz,
absolutely.
but nothing like just putting a platter on the turntable and letting it rip. Was it like prime time, or was it?
Yeah, it was. No, it was like 9 o'clock at night.
Wow,
yeah, it was
time.
right in the thick of things. Yeah, I mean, and like you said, I mean, one of the things that's always impressed me with the scene in Buffalo is how one person can make a difference. You know, like what Lazara has done at Pausa, you know, or, you know, what Joe Rico did, or what Ed Lawson did with the original Trail. So it's like one person can make a difference, and, you know, and that's encouraging, you know, I find.
And thank you, John, again, for evoking Al Wallach's name and sharing those great stories. What a legacy. We hope that the jazz scene does continue. As it evolves, I see an incredible future for it. I see these young people playing all the time, coming to your gigs, and with mentors like you now. And thank you to our fans that have showed up. Thank you to everyone that comes out to hear jazz. This is just to give you a little taste of this wonderful culture that is out there, the wonderful music that is out there, and it's accessible to everyone. Beyond the Scene, Jazz Scene Buffalo.
Jazz Scene Buffalo was sponsored by Constance Caldwell, licensed real estate salesperson at Howard Hanna Real Estate Services, and by Chef's Restaurant, downtown Buffalo. Menu and hours at ilovechefs.com.